Sí, yo tampoco no sabía nada. Ahorita me dijeron. That's what,
I think that's the person that they were
the,
gonna
yeah,
hire for the
that's what they hired.
for the.
I don't know if Renee hired her or who hired her.
Good deal. 5:30.
No, ahorita pues voy a checar.
Hasta miras el mundo está volteando, ¿no? Se está volteando el mundo muy quedito.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, November the 27th, 2018. I now call the San Juan Economic Development Corporation meeting to order. First item on the agenda is our roll call. Begin with my right.
Rene Villarreal, Executive Director.
Cynthia Gutierrez, Board Secretary.
Sanchez, Vice President. Arturo Guajardo Jr., President.
Mayor Mario Garza, Assistant Secretary.
Neto Guajardo, board member.
Israel Garza, treasurer.
Pedro Contreras, board member.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our public comments. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments this evening? Going once, going twice, no one signed up. Okay, we'll move on. Next item is our Executive Director's Administrative Report. Mr. Villarreal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to keep it brief today because of the short time frame that we've got, but I just wanted to, I passed out I was going to say a worksheet. I passed out a handout that shows ribbon cuttings that we've got coming up. There's a lot going on. We've got ribbon cutting. They're calling it a reopening for Hilsa on Thursday, November 29th at 1 p.m. A ribbon cutting for Ontiveros Insurance. That's also a one-year anniversary that they're having on November 30th at 12 p.m. and they will have food there. And a grand opening at UTRGV Center for Innovation and Commercialization on Thursday, November 29th at 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And another one that's not on there is a dinner reception for the board and the city commission. We were invited by the city of Alamo for their new ER facility that they're having, and I'll get those invitations out to you when I find out more details. That's on December 13th, Thursday evening. So I'll be sending you out. You're going to get a barrage of invites here in the next few weeks.
Include the addresses, if you don't mind. These don't have addresses.
Right, they do not have there, but the invites will. I'll include the addresses on the invites for sure. And I'd also like to take this time to introduce our new employee.
Welcome.
She's new to our EDC family. She started on Monday, so be sure to welcome her. She's got a lot of expectations, but she can handle it. So we're looking forward to her being part of the team.
Welcome on board, man. Appreciate it. A quick question, Mr. Villarreal.
Yes.
In reference to the times on these grand openings, who are the ones that set the times? Is it the businesses or you?
We let the businesses set them. For instance, in the Hilsa one, we told them that our commission and our board, they, have day jobs and that it'd be kind of hard for them to make it. But they have people coming in from Monterrey, and so that they were kind of settled on that time. But we did tell them that, hey, there might not be too much of a showing because our board does work. And Ontiveros, it's a big luncheon. They're going to have food there, they told us. So we leave it up to them. We try not to interfere too much, but we do let them know that.
No problem. That was my only question to you. Oh, my second question before. How are we doing as far as on sponsorships? Who's going out there? Have you reached out to like the dealerships, anybody like that in reference to the upcoming events?
Yes, we have, along with Parks and Rec, we've been visiting some businesses, not a lot. We have spent some time on it. We've reached out to the car dealerships, to the banks.
Is there any commitments?
Yes, we have right now a total of 11,000 donated to the cause, and the way it's looking, we should maybe get another 1,000 or 2,000 maybe, hopefully maybe more at this point.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for our director on his report? Not, we'll move on to our next item. 5A is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance of San Juan Economic Development Corporation Sales Tax Revenue Refunding Bonds, Series 2018. We've got our bond counsel here and our financial advisors. Would you all like to approach the podium? Anything to say? Yes, no?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Vela with Hilltop Securities, financial advisors to the Economic Development Corporation, for the record. We have some good news. We went out into the market as instructed with the previous plan of finance. I believe you have a handout in front of you. You all are familiar with the existing situation that we have before the EDC in terms of its existing debt with the Texas Leverage Fund, as well as with the interlocal agreement that you have with the city of San Juan on the transfer of certain funds for the 16 refunding bonds that were issued. We went out into the market. We utilized a placement agent, which was Frost Bank, and we secured bids. We had 2 bids, and the winning bid was a 3.74%.
Awesome.
So it was an excellent participation. You have the presentation before you. If there's any page that you would like for us to evaluate and present, we can. And the bottom line is that the net participation has decreased as a result of the restructuring of your debt and also the low interest rate as well. So the results were a very good transaction. All of the information that I have spoken is included in the presentation. I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Members of the board have any questions for Mr. Vela? That's positive news for us.
It's a locked-in rate, right?
It's a fixed rate throughout the life.
But it's not changing from.
It's not
We're
changing.
there already, right?
And I'm glad you brought that up because it's an
I just want to
interesting.
make that clear before, because
I'm sorry, sir?
I just want to make that clear whether it's.
It's very clear.
Okay.
And the answer is positively yes. And it is fixed for the life of the 13 plus something years
Okay.
on the total maturity. And what's really interesting is that when you started out with this loan, it was at 3.25 and it wound up at 3.74. So just a little interesting side note there. There's some savings of approximately $80-some-odd thousand a year that will be realized in fiscal year 20, in next year. And so all of this is obviously very good news in the structuring. Now, everything was done to align yourselves with the dates that we were talking about. So even the call dates, everything is working out so that you all can posture yourselves for the future in case you need to go there. You're so welcome.
Thank you, sir.
With me is also Mr. Cantu with the legal documents.
Say anything?
Well, I won't hog up the mic too long. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, Arnoldo Cantu with Norton Rose Fulbright as bond counsel to the San Juan EDC. I'm very glad to have worked with Mr. Villarreal and Mr. Vela on this financing, which is a big benefit to the EDC. I have with me a package of about 15 to 20 contracts which will need to be signed by the board president, the board secretary, and the executive director. We had initially planned to close this deal on December 19th. The Fed is meeting on December 18th through 19th, so we've moved the closing to December 17th in order to make sure that we're not having any trouble with Fed rates increasing on our refunded obligations. The Attorney General requires at least 12 days to review documents, so we're going to need these executed at a much shorter time frame. Again, Mr. Villarreal, I'll ask you if it's not too much trouble to have these documents executed by the end of the week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cantu.
I would also, if I may add, this is a good move, I believe, for the EDC, and I would also like to thank Mr. Vela and Hilltop Securities and also Mr. Arnold Cantu, the bond counsel, for all the work that they've put in and we've put in. It just seems like it was October, I think, and we were on a conference call talking about the deadlines we had to meet to pull all this together, and after many continuous conference calls and a lot of paperwork and digging around for for things, we were able to pull it off in our deadline. So thank you, guys.
And thank you for the kind comments. We really appreciate that. But one comment that we also need to reiterate, and that is the fact, the work that your staff did to make this a tax-exempt transaction. That was vital, obviously, and bank qualified.
Highlighting that as well. Thank you.
Mr. President, make a motion to approve the resolution. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll move on to our next item. It's also a resolution. This is discussion, consideration, and possible action, if any, adopting a resolution number 2018-002 in support of legislation, Senate Bill 132, filed by State Senator Juan Hinojosa, and House Bill 31, filed by State Representative Oscar Longoria, and any other actions to reestablish the Texas Leverage Fund as previously administered for the benefit of economic development in communities across the state of Texas. Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We do not have executive session agenda items, so 6 and 7 are no need for those, and the next item is to adjourn. Do I got a motion to adjourn? Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.